But I'm in agony now, and
Are you in agony right now as we speak?
yeah, certain. But it does make you think now. Do you know what I mean? Like life and everything. I mean, it's weird how it's all happened in the last month. From seeing that bee sort of die.
No,
Well, not really.
No. This is not a near-death experience.
It is
You
a
had a
little bit.
routine operation to remove kidney stones because you don't drink enough water.
No, I know, but
This is not a shark attack.
yeah, but it's all life-threatening. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to fill out forms, would you? Saying if everything goes wrong, Suzanne can have the house or whatever. They keep checking your heartbeats and stuff, and your blood pressure. I don't like knowing about that. I just like leave it. It's happening. Don't be messing with it. Stop measuring it.
Stop measuring it.
No, do you know what I mean?
That's the same with a knob.
It's that thing of like they put that thing.
That's what
on.
the anaesthetist was doing when you were under, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was comparing the diagram to the actual thing.
Oh, God.
What is the closest thing? Sort of living. That's nothing.
I don't know what you mean.
What?
What's like the closest? Like, do you know at some point something's gone from nothing to something, hasn't it?
No, I don't know. I don't understand what you mean.
Do you mean what is the first and lowest and most primitive and most simple form of life?
No,
He's right here in this room, Rick.
say like when you look at a stick insect,
Right.
you go right. There's a slight crossover there from a stick to a living thing.
No, it's not.
It didn't used to be a stick.
No, it's not. There's no biological relationship between it and a stick.
But there isn't much difference between the two, is what I mean.
Of course there is.
It's a huge
There isn't.
difference.
They just sit there looking like a stick. That's their skill.
Yes, but there's nothing to do with being a stick. It's like camouflage. That's like saying when a soldier puts on combat gear, you're saying he's a cross between a human and a shrub.
What I'm saying is, have you seen them weird things that just look like they sort of look like a leaf?
Yeah, they're insects that have evolved to look like a leaf.
At some point, something has had it away with a leaf.
No,
What?
at no point has something had it away with a leaf.
No, to make it look that much like a
No.
leaf.
At no point did a beetle shag a leaf. It's superficial. It's the way it looks. That's all it. That's like saying chameleons must have mated with green once. They are green.
No, but
it
what-
looks like a leaf.
But then how does it meet? How does it have relationships? It will be going around sort of having it away with a leaf.
No, it won't, because it doesn't know what it looks like. It doesn't matter. It's not like they, a stick insect will be talking to a stick for ages and go, "Oh, I've wasted my time here. This club's dead." Rude.
I was chatting to her. She was foxy, but she was giving me nothing.
But Dave, that's not a stick insect. That's a stick.
What are you talking about?
That's a stick. You've been talking to a stick all night. I thought.
I can't believe it. I just thought she had a great, slim figure.
No, it's actually a real stick.
Well, I've been watching birds more than insects recently.
Oh,
In
okay,
the
you
last,
moved on from
in the
insects.
last week, just because I've sort of looked at the ant and the bee and that. And what I've found with pigeons is they've got wings, yet they walk a lot.
I'd love that to be a thesis where he got like a £500,000 grant from a university, and I said, "Well, Pilkington seems to. He's done ants and he's done bees. He's followed ants. Apparently, they're not doing anything. Some of them are lazy. We are granting him another £500,000. He's been working on it for a year. Please welcome Karl Pilkington."
Carl, what have you found?
Well, even though pigeons have wings, they walk a lot.
Well, I heard, and you told me this, so I know it's true. Do you know when I talked about replacing blood with coconut? What was it?
Well, one, it said coconut milk can be used as plasma, but I haven't had that verified because it's off one of those websites where there are spurious facts.
But what do you think of that, Steve? I mean, I've sort of touched on it.
But I've just got to echo what Ricky said. I can't have an opinion unless it's been verified.
But why aren't you just being open-minded enough to go, well...
Well, no.
But
That's
that's not
not
a
being
question of being
open-minded. Open-minded isn't believing everything you hear. You don't believe everything you read, do you?
a lot of stuff you kind of go, well, that's interesting.
But what we talked about this. What about Noah's Ark?
What about it?
Well, you said you believed it because it's in book form, but according to that, didn't he get 2 of every species on a big boat? But We know that's impossible, don't we?
Depends where he was. If he was above a zoo, there would have been a lot of different stuff knocking about. That's my only problem. What I'm saying is, where was he floating where he could get an elephant, a giraffe, a cat, a dog, a gerbil? Where were all these things floating about?
Well, exactly.
Right,
That's
these
my
Old
only
Testament
downfall.
zoos, they were quite
Yeah,
quite
but
big,
exactly.
were they?
But you're right. You're questioning it. How is it possible?
But I've just said, a zoo.
There's no zoo that has got 1% of all animal species.
Well, I don't know where he got them from then.
There's a couple of million species of animal. And how did he round these animals up?
Because they were drowning, so they were looking for any boat.
So they were actively seeking out an ark.
Well, they would have just been looking for anything to get hold of.
Yeah, and where did he keep them all? How did he keep them all separate? How did he...
At that point...
Oh, no, the lions ate the otter.
No, because at that point, it's that thing, innit, of how you all pull together in a
Don't
bad situation.
Talk shit.
You all chip in, they're all like, oh, God, you know, let's be nice to our neighbours.
Right. So there's spiders talking to flies and...
Well, they would have just gone elsewhere, wouldn't they? They
What
would
do you
have been
mean?
on another bit of the boat. The spiders don't have to knock about the lions just because they're all in it together. They get their own little area, don't they?
Well, I don't know. How big is this boat? How
It's big, it's a big boat. How long, what was the warning he got from God to make it?
I don't know.
It's a couple of weeks.
Two of every species, Carl. How big would this boat have to be?
Yeah, it's big.
You can't just keep saying it's big, because I know in your mind, you're imagining this ark, there's a boat with Noah up the front with his wife, 2 giraffes behind him, then next there, 2 elephants, and it just, and it's just like elephant, giraffe, hippo, dog, cat, weasel, couple of frogs, and a spider talking to a fly going, let's get on, but when we're off here, you're dead.
But what would you have done then? Are you saying that you wouldn't get on there because it's too noisy?
It's not a question of what
it didn't
you've
happen.
done.
It didn't happen.
To be honest, I'm not bothered. And they got through it, didn't they? They got through it. They're here now. We're not short of them. If anything, like I said, he didn't do us a favour because he saved too much. You can't move out there for stuff.
I was swimming recently. I do a lot of swimming, and I've never quite mastered my front crawl. Just never quite nailed the breathing because it's quite tricky, isn't it? You know, you've got to breathe at the right moment. And so I'm in the swimming pool in the local gym, and there's a guy bombing up and down, really doing a great forward stroke. So I waited till he came up and sort of went, "Excuse me, mate. I was just watching you when you were doing your front crawl. I was really impressed. Could you just watch me when I do mine and tell me if I'm going
Why
wrong?"
would you go to a man?
I know, and that was that was the problem. Is only as I was saying it did I realise what it sounded like. I've just been watching you swimming up and down. I was really impressed.
And you're both in speedos.
Both in speedos. You know, I'm got the goggles on, prescription goggles, so that I can see when I'm swimming.
But why do you need them? There's nothing in a pool to look at. It's not like you're scuba diving. There's
Well,
nothing.
hold on. Clearly there is something to look at in a pool.
Well, no, I wasn't checking. Well, I was checking him out, but I was checking him out for swimming tips. And he just looked at me when I asked him, "Can you just watch me and offer me any tips?" And he just looked at me like I was just mental.
That is such a strange thing to say. Can you just watch? I don't know how you had the nerve to do that.
Well, it was innocently motivated.
Well, I know it's innocent, but what a strange thing to go up to someone and...
But what civilization are we living in where we can't just ask our fellow man to help us out with our forward crawl?
But we're in a society where we can't. But you know that. It's a strange thing to say.
But sometimes it's nice to just think, no, do you know what? I'm not going to fall into the trap of thinking
agree.
he's immediately going to think I'm gay or that I'm chatting him up. I'm just going to ask him to do me a favour. There's nothing wrong with that.
What if he said, yeah, it's just good, yeah. Do you mind coming and help me with my plastering?
But it's not the same. He's in the swimming pool. He's there in the pool. He's swimming up and down. He's, it's not no skin off his nose to just offer a bit of kindly advice. If your car's broken down in the middle of nowhere and someone drives by, it's a generous thing to do. Just stop and maybe look under the bonnet and help them out.
I agree.
But I don't see how it's any different. And in the end, he did, and all he asked was that I wake him off. Carl, as you're aware, you've obviously got many celebrity fans, and you've also got a new fan, Warwick Davis, who is the short actor that many people will see in films like Return of the Jedi. He also is in Harry Potter. He's 3'6", and Ricky and I worked with him recently. And far from asking us about the many celebrity names that we've worked with, the only person he was interested in talking about, of course, Mr. K. Pilkington.
He wanted to meet you, Carl.
Yeah. Well, is he all right to get on with?
Why wouldn't he be?
Just because sometimes when people aren't normal, it's
Well,
just...
sorry?
No, I just mean when someone... Like, I've met a few little people in my time. The one that I met a little fella once, and he was all right. He got drunk really quick. But he was all right, but it took me by surprise. Only because, like I've said about when I met Steve for the first time, it's only that same thing. And then if I lived with the little fella, I'm sure we'd get on a storm.
What do you mean when you met
There's
Steve?
a TV show waiting to happen.
Things wear off. That's like the world, isn't it? And it's the same with the little fella you're talking about. First time I see him, I'd be a little bit like, oh, what do you say? Whereas once you get to know him, I'm sure he'd be a lovely little fella.
I don't know where to start, Steve.